Well, hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Uh, Being live, anything could happen, literally. But I've told my human side of my family to give me about 20 minutes. However, my dog is in here and a cat could visit at this point. So, over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. The car knows the way because these days we use a GPS. All right. So, anyways, yeah, literally over the river and through the woods. Did you know that Michigan has several bridges? A lot of them go north to south. It's not just the Mackinac Bridge. There's also the bridge going between here towards the Little River Casino. Um, and it goes through a cute little town. And there's also the one that divides most of Grand Haven to places like Ferrysburg and Spring Lake and all points north, such as Muskegon. So for a lot of people, you are literally going over the river and through the woods. But there are some people that literally are going over the lakes on the Mackinac Bridge, which is a wonder of ingenuity and engineering. And, a lot of the Yoopers, they're just happy to have tourists because that's their economy with the fishing and the camping and the family reunions. And a lot of us trolls who live below the bridge aspire to be Yoopers who live in the UP. And some of them try it. Many of them turn around and move to places a little further south of the bridge, like South Carolina or Florida. Okay, that being said, I want to tell you how grateful I am to have you guys as friends and family. And I gave a talk in church last Sunday. And yes, let me testify to you right now. I do truly believe that Jesus Christ is our Savior. You may or not be able to see my dog. She's been a boon to my mental health, let me tell you. And she's been of great service to me. But anyways, yes, I truly believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And I won't get into the history right now. But here's the talk I gave. It's on paper, written really big for me, so I don't have to wear my glasses. I'm going to have it close to me, unlike church where I had to wear glasses. Anyways, Psalm 118 verse 1 says, "Give thanks unto the Lord." I'm paraphrasing, but give thanks unto the Lord. And there is so much to be grateful for. We can be angry that roses have thorns, or grateful that a thorn bush produces flowers. And it really is a matter of perspective. When I was using my glasses in church, they were the same people with the same children and the same suits and dresses in the same seats. Same. But if I had my glasses on, I would see it one way. If I had my glasses off, I would see it another. And a lot of that is being grateful. It's the same situation, but we can see it as a blessing or a curse. And some of us can be indifferent. If that's good for your mental health, great. Anyways, let me tell you a story. It's a true story. Once upon a time, actually it was about 80 years ago, there were two sisters, Corey and Betsy. They were thankful for all things, especially under the circumstances. Believe it or not, they were thankful for fleas. Can you imagine that? They were imprisoned in a concentration camp. They even had to hide their scriptures. The offense of being caught with a Bible meant beatings, less rations, if you can call mouse poop infested gruel a blessing, or a ration. They had rotten meat sometimes. So can you imagine? But they were grateful for that. It was a little bit of sustenance. Anyways, your rations could be cut. You could be beat. You could be executed just for having a Bible or any other contraband book, according to the captors in that concentration camp. Because of that flea infestation, they were spared an inspection by an otherwise fastidious prison matron. on those Bible verses, they were written out on playing cards. The playing cards were easier to hide in the slats of their flea-infested beds than an entire Bible or any book would have been. A lot of times the Bibles were confiscated. You wouldn't see them again. At least you had your verses on your playing cards. I am grateful for simple things like indoor plumbing, my own shower, my own toilet. I'm grateful for McDonald's even, and there's a story behind that. I'm what my dad called a Heinz 57. My mother was born in Germany. I won't even get into the ethnicity of that right now, but you can see which side I'm on. My dad's side today. Happy Indigenous Month or Happy Thanksgiving. Either way, I'm thankful for it. Anyways, my mother was born in Germany, and when I was last there at the age of 7, my grandmother and aunt lived in apartments that had shared toilets. This was 1971. Those shared toilets were down the hall with paper that was brown and stiff like shopping bags. Oh, and the toilets didn't have a seat. The toilets were just a hole in the ground with a little bit of plumbing attached. To me, even at the age of 7, it was mind-boggling and very off-putting. Also, the food was so strange to me. Now I appreciate good German food, but at the time I didn't, and their everyday food was mind-boggling to me too. My mother thought I was going to starve, so my dad and mother asked a U.S. soldier who risked punishment to sneak out a hamburger from the commissary for me. And for 3 weeks, I ate mostly bread, carrots, simple things. And I grew to love the grape juice, the white grape juice, because there were vineyards all around Ludwigshafen, where my mother was born. Vineyards that, while they were making wine, they would also make a really good white grape juice. The only thing comes close, and this isn't a plug for the company, but maybe it is, St. Julian's white grape juice. You can get it at Meijer. Anyways, I am grateful for clean drinking water from a tap. In some countries, the women and children carry buckets to a stream that's miles away from their homes. Then they carry them back, sometimes uphill, to their simple homes, and it's back-breaking work. They literally have to balance a yoke. The bigger you are, the older you are, you become stronger, but you're carrying more buckets. A little child might carry a little bit by his or her side. And if the child is too young to carry, they are being carried. The mother's carrying that child, and the buckets of water on either side, balancing over rocks, over hills. Gives you a whole new meaning of over the river and through the woods. Oh, and they have their water. Isn't that wonderful? But they have to wait for that water to settle in the bucket. There's mud settling at the bottom of the bucket, and then they can drink the water. Okay, passable. Kind of like your pool before you clean it. Those of you that have pools, I don't. But that water is still infested with parasites and certain flukes that can get into your liver, and that can be sickening or fatal. After this podcast, if you want some names of reputable places that actually you can donate to, so these people have water to their villages, let me know. And there are really places that do that, and the people are so grateful for drinking water, even if it's a shared place in the village. They don't have it necessarily running into their home, but it's a shared place in their village where they can gather for the water. Even if they have a cistern as in C-I-S-T-E-R-N, cistern, it can be infested with mice, bird droppings, sometimes dead birds. I've heard stories. Anyways, these people are still grateful for when the stream flows. Some of the streams don't flow unless it's monsoon season. Okay, then they have to go farther. Anyway, I myself personally, I've had 2 major accidents in my life and a multitude of little wrecks here and there. I was grateful to come back from one accident in which my head went through a window of a pickup truck. Then I was flung forward and my safety belt caught me so I didn't go through the front window. And if I'm using notes and I didn't memorize this, it's because I only memorize things in snippets, and I kind of, everything I do and say, if you notice, it might be from an internal script because I had such damage that my brain went in my skull in more than one wreck. Car wreck, back and forth, train wreck that I'm going to get to. Anyways, so yeah, I've come a long way. And anyways, my back of the head went through a window of a single cab pickup truck, according to witnesses at the scene, that when they saw one car hit another car, and then mine, they turned around. By the time my car got hit, they were putting up a sign on the corner of this intersection and saw my head literally come through the glass. So I was and am brain damaged. And I had a counselor reassure me on more than one occasion that it was very unlikely that I'd ever get into an accident like again. He urged me to be less hypervigilant, which means always on, always ready to answer, always aware. Unfortunately, I was awake a lot, had some insomnia, and my dog helps me sleep because now she can be hypervigilant. Okay, anyway, I have actual PTSD. But anyway, guess what? I was rear-ended a couple more times, before, during, after. A lot of times not my fault, multi-vehicular accidents. Anyways, and then after that accident in 1998, the car accident, nearly 14 years ago, I was in a train wreck, an actual train wreck. My family and I, except for my husband, were on the way to a wedding in California. We all opted to take the Amtrak. It was the deadliest train wreck in Nevada's history, and people died right in front of my family and some behind us. It's a miracle that we got out. So I can lament that we were injured and traumatized, or grateful that my family survived. And by the way, collectively, our luggage burned, a library book burned, some gifts for my nieces and nephews and for my niece's wedding burned. Those that came through, they would ship them back, but they ended up being powder by the time I got them. My laptop burned. Yet, my daughter's scriptures, one of my daughter's scriptures, were not burned. I want you to think about that. Yes, we were injured. Yes, we were traumatized. And yes, it's taken effort. I had to be strong-willed to come back from this. I had to learn how to spell a few words again. I had to learn how to balance my checkbook, and I forced myself to learn how to balance it without a calculator. Although once in a great while, I will use that calculator. Anyway, the Lord spared our lives, but I had to make an effort, as I said, to come back with physical therapy, yoga, massage, physical therapy, and yes, counseling. I am grateful for counseling. Let me tell you, the best counselors urged me to keep a gratitude journal and to write at least 5 things I was grateful for each night. Then I translated, I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing, and I'm getting a little teary. Anyway, then I thanked my Heavenly Father for those things I would write down in my gratitude journal. I thanked him for my blessings. And the one particular therapist urged me to see the bright side of all my trails. And a long time ago when I was in college, they had like a revival movie thing. And I was watching a movie called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And in one scene, Mr. Smith's girlfriend says she envisioned that you'd go through a tunnel, and every time you'd come out of that tunnel, you'd come out of it and there would be light and beautiful things all around. And to treat each and every moment that it's something new, something special and beautiful, and see the beautiful things all around. And I just want you to know that Jesus is our light. So whenever you're in a tunnel, don't think it's the train coming at you. No, it's you coming out of that tunnel, and Jesus is the light. Recently, Hurricane Helene ravaged the Appalachian Mountains and their citizens. many of my relatives on my dad's side, by the way. The deluge washed away homes, businesses, farms, and entire communities. Some districts did not even have potable drinking water. Think about Africa, think about South America. It was right here in America. There's even places in California that do not have fresh water. I won't get into that. But for the time being, there were communities without potable drinking water for a couple of weeks. Anyway, many towns are and were remote and unreachable. The people were grateful for mule teams, old-fashioned mule teams going in with basic supplies, tents, shelter. A lot of them could not be reached by semi-truck, or you couldn't get to the grocery store. You couldn't get there by helicopter because some of these haulers were that steep and a little wind gust would smack the helicopter against the side of a ravine. Mule teams were brought in, and those people were and are grateful. A lot of people were thankful just for their clothes on their backs. And in Timothy chapter 6, verse 8, I'll paraphrase, it says, for us to be grateful even for the simple clothes on our backs. King James Version says raiment. Anyways, at this Thanksgiving time, I want you to remember the brothers and sisters around the world and think of giving machines. You will see red machines in malls and on walkways in some communities. They're called giving machines. Think about those. And if you don't feel comfortable with Venmo, there's other ways to send checks. I can tell you reputable companies, not fly-by-night, reputable companies that can help you get your money where you want to go. And if you don't have money, because times are hard for a lot of people, everything's going up, housing, food, fuel, insurance, everything. If you don't have that, volunteer your time. You can do it. I know you can. Anyways, getting back to the hurricanes from a couple months ago, it's the saying goes, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. So you're probably thinking, if these people lived within their means and were prepared, they wouldn't be suffering. Well, what if you were in a similar situation with a hurricane and you lost your home and your family, along with everything you prepared that was in your basement or attic? All your canned goods, your tents, your sleeping bags, and all you were prepared was just washed away. Did you know that in that hurricane, some homes were just gone. Some businesses were just gone. Their beds were gone. Their shelter was gone. Their tents were gone. Other people were grateful that their houses were spared. Barely spared. But again, they didn't have any water. What can we do? There was a sister in my church. I'm not going to call her out right now. We'll just call her Sophia. Hi, Sophia. She served in Marshall, North Carolina. Marshall, North Carolina probably meant nothing to her except that these people were suffering. Of all the places she picked, that was my father's stepfather's community where my step-grandfather was born. And his people came from Marshall, North Carolina. Their last name is Farmer, by the way. So if there's any farmers out there by the last name of Farmer, hello. Anyways, she helped with her time and effort and strength to clean up Marshall at the risk of her own health because there were some noxious things floating about. Anyways, some of us can help with reputable organizations, as I said. Please message me if you're interested. We need to be thankful for our abundance. We need to share. But what if, as in some cases during Hurricane Helene ravaging the Smokies and parts of the Appalachians, what happens if someone we know and loved died in any of these tragedies? Some that I've mentioned, some that I haven't mentioned. Remember that dark tunnel? If you find yourself in that dark tunnel, whether it's spiritually or physically, mentally, or after death, my advice to you is follow the light and know that if we die in Jesus. That simple blessing is something so simple yet so profound, and we can give thanks for that simple blessing that Jesus is our light. want to say happy Thanksgiving. I don't want to bring you down. But when you're watching football or streaming and binge watching and eating those turkey leftovers, think about your blessing. Go and serve, because that is true thankfulness. To be thankful and know that we can help in our thankfulness. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you. From the multicultural Lisa. How do I turn this off?